Hello, go back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the war between Israel and Hezbollah, and I've got numerous updates to brief you on today. We've also got some updates in regards to Iran, as we know that Israel is supposed to be carrying out their retaliatory strike against Iran some point soon, most likely before the November 5th elections in the United States for president. So we'll be discussing that a little bit today as well. So lots of big events happening over here with Israel and Hezbollah over the last 24 hours. As just last night, you can see here on the screen, Israel targeted multiple Hezbollah-affiliated banks with airstrikes inside Lebanon, primarily in the capital of Beirut and the suburbs. Lots of banks were being struck. I think over a dozen were targeted just last night in airstrikes in Lebanon. So we'll be discussing this quite a bit today. You can see a bank that was completely leveled to the ground here, very close to what appears to be some residential buildings as well. We can see massive damage to one of those buildings to the side as well, as this building was completely leveled to the ground. So we'll be talking about this some more today. And we've got numerous other updates I want to share with you in regards to the war between Israel and Hezbollah. So let's go ahead and jump right into the news. Let me start sharing some of this information with you. We're going to be kind of bouncing around back and forth because I've got some information from today that I want to share for you. And then also yesterday, I obviously wasn't here. So I want to share some of this information leading up to the events of Israel carrying out their airstrikes targeting these Hezbollah-affiliated banks. Okay, so this came out yesterday from Megatron Ron breaking. Israel has announced that it will strike civilian infrastructure throughout Lebanon tonight, accusing it of funding Hezbollah. IDF spokesman Hagari, this evening we will strike significant economic targets that are used to finance Hezbollah's terrorist activities, and we call on anyone in Lebanon and Beirut near such targets to evacuate immediately. Okay, so this was a major announcement that came out from the IDF yesterday from Daniel Hagari, the IDF spokesman, warning the civilians of Lebanon to evacuate certain areas that they were preparing to strike. And I think there was at least a minimum of 12 targets that they went after. So definitely they are trying to destroy Hezbollah's financial arm right now and trying to make it difficult for Hezbollah to finance weapons that they need, purchase, any weapons coming from Iran or any other countries. And they're definitely trying to dismantle Hezbollah as much as possible. And apparently they're also going to be going after other types of targets as well, which we will talk about in just a moment. Okay, so now I've got this video footage to show you here as well from Ozan Defender. Significant damage can be seen to one of the Hezbollah Al-Qard Al-Hassan bank branches in Lebanon that was targeted last night by the Israeli Air Force. Okay, so from my understanding, the Al-Qard Al-Hassan bank is Hezbollah's primary bank that they use for financing their weapons. That's exactly why Israel carried out a strike on multiple of these branches. So this video footage is going to show some damage to this bank, as we clearly had an airstrike taking place very close to this bank. So take a look. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I'll just kind of show some of it to you, and then we'll jump back in. So take a look at this.
هاي صباح الخير. هاي الكرد الحسن.
Okay, so we could definitely see lots of damage here, lots of pieces from this building all over the road, and definitely looks like this building took a pretty heavy hit as an airstrike came very close to this bank. So yeah, as you can see right there, it says Al-Qard Al-Hassan Association. Okay, this was definitely one of the primary targets that Israel was going after, was this major bank used by Hezbollah. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next update now. I've got a picture here as well from Ozan Defender. The headquarters of Hezbollah's Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank in the city of Baalbek suffered major damage as a result of an Israeli airstrike. Okay, so even in Baalbek, this is in northeastern Lebanon, far away from Beirut, even one of these banks coming under attack. So definitely Israel is striking hard on their financial institutions that are used to fund Hezbollah, and we can see major damage that has been done to this bank as well. Okay, so moving on to our next update from Ozan Defender again. One of the high-rise residential buildings that was targeted and collapsed tonight in the Dahia suburbs of southern Beirut held a Al-Qard Al-Hassan bank branch on the street level. Okay, so that's apparently why they targeted this high-rise building. I think this is the same one that we saw earlier that I showed you on the waiting screen when you came in. I believe this is that same building, and apparently that's why they struck this building that some people were claiming was a residential building, and apparently on the street level, on the very bottom of this building was a branch for the Al-Qard Al-Hassan bank branch, okay, that Hezbollah primarily uses for their finances, okay? So that's why they destroyed that building. So pretty crazy. Now we've got an update here from Yoav Gallant, the defense minister of Israel. I had it translated into English here as it was obviously in Hebrew. It says, harming Hezbollah both on the battlefield and in the economic campaign, I decided to announce the Qard al-Hassan Association tonight, Hezbollah's bank, as a terrorist organization. At the same time as the fighting we are conducting against our enemy in the 7 combat sectors, we are expanding the economic campaign and choking the oxygen of the terrorist organizations through the headquarters of economic combating terrorism in the Ministry of Defense. The Qard al-Hassan Association, which was used to pay terrorists, purchase weapons, and store Hezbollah funds, entered the list of terrorist organizations in the state of Israel. The IDF, the Shin Bet, and the Mossad are already working towards significantly damage the arm of the terrorist organization. We will continue our action until we achieve our goals. Okay, so that's apparently what Yoav Gallant had done, was list the Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank as a terrorist organization. That's why they went ahead and struck these banks, okay, and multiple locations were hit, and I believe that was one of the major banks they were targeting. I'm not sure if they targeted a few other banks. It's very possible. So now moving on to another update here from Israel-Alma. Okay, this is the Alma Research Center and Alma Research and Education Center out of Israel. The state of Hezbollah has parallel and alternative infrastructure to that of the Lebanese state. Among the members of the Shiite community in Lebanon, Hezbollah maintains an extensive system of informal state institutions dealing with education, health, sports, economy, finance, welfare, society, communication, construction, energy, and more. These bodies serve as a base of support for Hezbollah's military infrastructure, work for the military infrastructure, and serve as a means of strengthening Hezbollah's position among the Shia community in particular, and in the domestic Lebanese arena in general. Today, October 20th, the IDF began attacking the branches of Al-Qard Al-Hassan, Hezbollah's bank, as we recommended already in June 2024 in a position paper on the subject. There are also other targets on the list, such as finance, Beit El Mal, and the Maradcho Finance Company, energy, the Al Amana Fuel Company, which is this picture here, this picture of this gas station, Hezbollah's independent water and electricity infrastructure, Hezbollah radio, TV, printed media, and more. Okay, so again, here's a picture of the Al Amana gas station, which is a fuel company apparently used by Hezbollah. And if you notice here, they mention other types of finance companies that will probably be targeted at some point in the future, and then even water, electricity infrastructure, their radio station, television station, and printed media. Okay, so looks like we're going to be seeing lots of airstrikes being carried out, most likely in Beirut, some more, and also other major cities in Lebanon. And it looks like they're going to be targeting other types of organizations, not just banks as well. Anything that is Hezbollah affiliated, most likely the Israelis are going to start targeting and destroying. Okay, so very big news. Now moving on to another update from Times of Israel Alerts. Live update. IDF identifies Hezbollah bunker under Beirut hospital with 500 million in gold and cash. Okay, so it looks like another bunker underneath the Beirut hospital that the IDF has found with 500 million in gold and cash. So it looks like we could be potentially seeing a strike on the hospital inside of Beirut. Now, it would be crazy if Israel did that, but it wouldn't surprise me if we've seen Israel do this before. So don't be surprised if we hear a strike on this hospital, as apparently they have identified a Hezbollah bunker underneath the hospital in Beirut. Okay, so moving on to our next update now. So this is from Channel 12 News directly out of Israel. The IDF spokesman announces that in the coming hours, the IDF will begin a wave of attacks on terrorist targets in Dahiyya and Beirut. Okay, so Dahiyya is that major suburbs just south of the original portion of Beirut in the southern suburbs. This is also where we had Hassan Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, that was eliminated just a few weeks back. This same suburb is attacked quite a bit because it's considered a Hezbollah stronghold. So it looks like the IDF again tonight, according to this information, is going to be carrying out more airstrikes inside of southern Beirut. Okay, so this was just coming out about a half hour ago at the time that I record this, just today on October 21st, 2024. So moving on to our next update, Ozen Defender reports U.S. President Joe Biden has stated that he is deeply concerned about a recent intelligence leak that which included several documents related to Israel's preparations for a retaliatory strike against Iran. Okay, so this happened on Saturday, I believe. Just a few days ago, we heard that there was an intelligence leak where some papers got leaked basically online that showed what the plans were and the preparations for Israel to carry out their strike onto Iran. And Israel came out with a fiery response to that, and obviously was very upset, as their plans to strike Iran were supposed to be very classified, and looks like this information got leaked on the internet. We'll have to see what's going to happen here. But apparently the U.S. President Joe Biden is concerned about this, and it looks like they're going to be launching an investigation too, which is this report right here. Max 24, the U.S. will soon begin an investigation into the leak of intelligence documents describing Israel's preparations for an attack on Iran. This was the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who said this. These documents were produced by the U.S. National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and were only accessible to certain individuals in the U.S., Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the U.K. Okay, so obviously this is a big deal if this information got leaked and then Iran could find out about this and be prepared for this attack. Then this could also sabotage their operation and make it very difficult for Israel to carry out the attack that maybe they were intending to. Now they might have to switch things up. Could this also delay their attack? I think it's very possible as well. But I'm very interested to find out how this information got leaked and who is responsible. We'll see if we find out anything about that leading forward into the future. But this was just reported today. Okay, now moving on to our next update. Megatron Ron, just in, Channel 12 News reports Hezbollah has hacked the communication system of the port of Haifa and warned workers to evacuate. Hundreds of workers at the Haifa port received a message that read, "We know you are one of the workers at the port. It will be one of our targets of our missiles." Okay, so the Haifa port has been attacked several times, even the city of Haifa coming under attack by hundreds of rockets by now, maybe even thousands. And I think the port of Haifa has even taken a direct hit or two recently in the past. But we know that Hezbollah wants to target this port. They want to destroy it even as well. This is a major port for Israel to receive a lot of their goods into their country. Apparently they received a message that was hacked by Hezbollah telling them that they're going to target to this port and eventually attack it. Okay, so we'll see if Hezbollah decides to. We haven't really seen a major attack on the port, but it has been attacked in the past. Okay, so also from what the media hides, Yemen informed Iran that 400,000 troops are ready for all-out war with Israel. Okay, so we've heard this multiple times, and I did hear some information today as well that the spokesperson for the Yemen Houthis, Yahya Saree, he was coming out too and saying that they were ready to join this war against Israel and get on the ground, and they've got 400,000 troops they could deploy. We've even heard in the past that several thousand may have been sent over to Iraq for training and could be potentially deployed on the front line to fight with Hezbollah against Israel. So we'll see if the Houthis get involved, but we've been hearing a lot lately that they are ready to send 400,000 troops from Yemen over to fight against Israel. Okay, so that could be very huge if that ends up going down. Now we got this report from The Informant. Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, in a direct address to the U.S., "We didn't build military bases on your borders. We didn't impose sanctions that isolated and economically devastated your country. We didn't deprive your people of medicine. We didn't assassinate your military leaders and officials. You did this to us." Okay, so this was something that he mentioned today in an address directly to the United States. I'm not going to show you guys this video because it doesn't have any English subtitles or anything, and it's very blurry anyway too. But this was something that he mentioned at their parliament. So I don't know, is this a warning directly to the U.S. as well? Obviously, he's coming out saying that, the U.S. has always been an aggressor to Iran, we'll have to see what happens here. But we know that just recently, the United States launched airstrikes inside of Yemen to warn Iran, destroying some of the underground bunkers inside of Yemen using B-2 Spirit bombers. And then obviously that's a message to Iran, letting them know that they could destroy their underground facilities as well, maybe even their nuclear facilities. So this was a major statement that came out from Masoud Pezeshkian, the president of Iran, today. So now moving on to Max 24. Iran has officially complained to the UN Atomic Energy Agency, accusing Israel of intending to attack Iranian nuclear facilities. Okay, so is this some huge news right here? Some confirmation that it looks like Israel was preparing to attack Iran's nuclear facilities? I mean, we know that it's been something on their target list for a long time. But we heard recently from some reports coming out from the United States, some officials were saying that Israel was not going to attack their nuclear facilities and not even their oil and gas industry, that they might just go after military targets. But who really knows what's going to happen here? But this could be a huge sign that maybe Israel really was preparing to attack their nuclear facilities. As we know, Israel and also the U.S. has come out repeatedly saying that they would never allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. And we know that Iran is very close to obtaining one and could already have them right now. Okay, so next update. Iran Observer breaking: Iran will change its nuclear doctrine if Israel strikes nuclear facilities, and in return will decimate Israel's nuclear facilities, Iran's military to Tasnim news agency reported. Okay, so now Iran's military coming out and saying that they'll change their nuclear doctrine and start building nuclear weapons most likely. And then also they will destroy Israel's nuclear facilities. We've heard both of these reports several times, but even coming out from like IRGC officials, now we're hearing it directly from their military. So this could definitely get very crazy over here. I think we're going to see some major escalation right after we see this strike onto Iran. And it's going to be insane if it comes right before the elections. And hopefully this does not spark a major war in the Middle East. It could get very dangerous over here. Okay, so moving on to our next update from Vicegrad 24, Jabalia is surrendering. Okay, so this is in, I believe, northern Gaza. And we've been hearing of major airstrikes inside of Jabalia and also the IDF operating inside of there. Here's one of their tanks right here. And apparently there's some photos popping up of some of the citizens here. I'm not sure if these were Hamas members or who they are, but some people were holding white flags in a show of sign of surrender. Okay, so is this Hamas now starting to fold now that Yahya Sinwar has now been eliminated just a few days ago? I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think it's very possible it could be at least the beginning of it, or maybe just on the northern side of Gaza. And we know that Israel is putting heavy pressure on northern Gaza right now. There's been lots of airstrikes happening throughout to the district of Jabalia. And we know that Hamas was popping up in there. We've been seeing lots of military activity as well from the IDF even moving in. So this could be a major sign that maybe Hamas is beginning to crumble over here. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys that. Now we're going to talk about this strike that we heard inside of Syria in the capital of Damascus. Okay, this is from Ozen Defender. Reports of an Israeli airstrike on a car in the Syrian capital of Damascus. We got an 8-second clip. There was a car over here that was targeted. Some people were saying it was an IED. Others, other locals were stating that was an airstrike. Don't know 100% what it was, but definitely a car had been destroyed over here in the middle of the street. Take a look at this, 8 seconds long. Sorry guys, but that was kind of loud. It's always these videos with these loud horns that are always just so excruciatingly, painfully loud. So my apologies, but as we can see in this video, definitely a car has been destroyed right here and is on fire, and most likely was an Israeli airstrike or a drone strike. But we've got more pictures here to show you as well. Ozen Defender, 1 killed in the targeted strike on the Syrian capital of Damascus. Okay, so we don't know exactly who the target of this strike was. All I'm getting based on these reports is it was just some sort of targeted strike on this vehicle, whether it was an IED or it was some sort of missile that came in. Maybe it was a missile, considering the whole top of the car is gone. That would indicate that, maybe the explosion struck the car and then the explosion going upward destroyed the top of the car. So very possible it was an airstrike, but we definitely had this whole car destroyed here. And don't know who the target was. Was it a Hezbollah-affiliated commander? Maybe it probably was another senior commander, or maybe somebody from the IRGC that Israel was targeting as well. Now we're going to move on to our next update. Israel Defense Forces on X. Terrorism on the go. Hezbollah stores rocket launchers in their vehicles, prepared to launch rockets towards Israeli communities. So check this out, a picture of this Suzuki. this tiny little SUV with a rocket launching system right on the top of it. I don't know if they were trying to cover it with a jacket here to kind of disguise and hide this thing as it's being used by Hezbollah. But look at, they just literally use just any kind of cars they can and just kind of fit these rocket systems on there, and they use them to launch attacks onto Israel. So it looks like the IDF was able to locate one of these vehicles that was being used to attack inside of Israel. It's pretty crazy to see that. Now moving on to Oza Defender, one U.S. Air Force C-17 takes off from an airbase in southern Israel, while another is preparing to land with another right behind it. The scale of this airlift by Air Mobility Command is insane. Okay, so what we have been seeing, this came out yesterday, by the way, but what we have been seeing over the last maybe week or so, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like a week and a half, is lots of these C-17s coming from the United States and also Europe, and supposedly transporting lots of military equipment over to Israel right now. We know that they've been receiving THAAD air defense systems, and the only confirmation we have of any THAAD air defense system showing up is just one so far, and supposedly around 95 to 100 U.S. troops have been deployed to Israel. Then we also heard that that Israel is calling for another THAAD air defense system, and we didn't have any confirmation as to whether Israel got it, but I've got some crazy video to show you guys that shows two of these THAAD air defense systems deployed on the ground, moving through the streets of Israel. We'll show you that in just a minute. But just right here from open source intel, just in, the U.S. THAAD air defense system is now fully operational in Israel. Okay, so here's a picture of that system. Very similar, I believe, to a Patriot system, or at least, same sophisticated level. That's being used inside of Israel right now. And from what we understand, again, they only had one of these, again, calling for a second one. But then now we've got this video that came out yesterday as well from Oza Defender. U.S. Army convoy was spotted on the move recently near the city of Beersheba in southern Israel, consisting of at least 2 THAAD launchers and several pieces of support equipment, including generators and fuel trucks. Okay, so whenever I watched this video, I did not see more than one of these THAAD launchers. Here's one of them right here. But apparently there was multiples of these on the move, maybe 2 or more that were spotted. And this could indicate that, yes, maybe Israel does have more of these THAAD launchers, these defense batteries, and maybe they've got more than what's being reported. But take a look at this. You're going to see some of these Humvees transporting generators as well. Pretty crazy. Take a look. Okay, so this video shows us everything that's being transported over here to Israel. And again, like I reported to you guys, there's been so many C-17 transport cargo planes heading over to Israel, coming from the United States and also Europe. And this looks like a lot of the equipment that's being sent over here. Okay, so pretty insane to be seeing this, as they could definitely be having more than just one of these THAAD air defense batteries being sent to Israel. Okay. Finally, one last thing to share with you guys from legitimate targets. Breaking: Ireland to officially suspended trade with Israel. Ireland will not wait for everybody in Europe to move on this issue. Okay, so looks like we have Ireland coming out right here, and they're basically suspending trade with Israel. We've been hearing about like a major arms embargo starting to build up with Europe. We had France coming out recently calling for a major arms embargo with Israel as well. Here's Benjamin Netanyahu. And, we're going to see if more countries start to go this direction, maybe start suspending trade with Israel, but definitely their war with Hezbollah and Hamas, and then also Iran as well, is starting to make a lot of the allies that they previously had turn against them. And obviously a lot of these strikes in the Gaza Strip and a lot of these innocent people being killed is adding to it, okay? And it's making a lot of countries turn against Israel. So it looks like we officially have Ireland turning their back on Israel and suspending trade indefinitely, at least for right now. Okay, so lots of big news coming out from this war between Israel and Hezbollah that I wanted to update you on today, and then also in regards to Iran. So we're still waiting to see when Israel's going to carry out this strike, but I have a feeling their attack on Iran is going to be delayed now that some of these documents have been leaked onto the internet. That was supposedly showing their plans for retaliation against Iran. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.